Hello everybody and welcome to a Spotlight on Super Lumi Live. This is actually a game up until this point, I've quite enjoyed. I've played 6% of it, and as you can see, 6% is just pretty much 100%, not even 100%ing, because I have some optional objectives left. The first world. So this is the first stage of the second world, which I'm going to get into now. And 6% for the first world means that this is a new mechanic actually. As you can see, there's a double jump. But yeah, 6% first world means there's probably gonna be between 8 and 10-ish worlds, I would imagine. Which seems like a good amount for a game like this. As you can probably already tell or imagine, this is one of those hardcore platformers, which I do like those. Honestly, I might like annoy or even piss off some people, but so far, playing one world of both games, I like Super Lumi Live a little bit more than The End Is Nigh. Honestly, The End Is Nigh is a good game, don't get me wrong, it really is. I mean, honestly, anything that comes out of Edmund Macmillan is a good game. That sounded weird. So, don't get me wrong, I like the game, that's a good game. But it's not super meat, but I'm not gonna compare the End Is Nigh to Binding of Isaac because it's a totally different game, but I can compare this to it because, honestly, it's not a hardcore platformer, which has a different gimmick, of course, because this is a double jump, and that makes it a different gimmick in the game, because there's a couple of different gimmicks a hardcore platformer can have, right? One of them is double jumping, and I honestly, maybe that's why I like this game a little bit better than The End Is Nigh, because I like speed, and The End Is Nigh is not as fast as Super Meat Boy or this game. And double jumping gives you possibilities for, first of all, difficult platforming, but second of all, in the normal platforming sections of a game, for more precision, which might actually mean that it is easier, which means that while you're playing a hardcore platformer, if you want it to be easier, that's a fair assessment, actually. But still, I personally like fast-paced, hard platformers a little bit better. As you can see, there's silver collectibles and golden ones. The golden ones, there's 3 of them each stage, and the silver ones, I think there's not a set amount of them in each stage. Maybe it's like 20. I honestly haven't been paying attention to that because it seemed like, I think it's not a set amount in each stage, but we're gonna find out sooner or later. Another thing why I like this game is the aesthetic. It might seem a little bit over the top and too much, but quite frankly, I like the aesthetic of this game. I really, really do. It reminds me of 2 games, actually. There was it a Pac-Man game? I think it was like a Pac-Man game in this graphic style as well, like a year, 2 years ago, which... That reminds me, and Shell Shock Live has a, of course, very similar style to this. And this is the visual style I do like. I don't want to see this in every game ever, don't get me wrong. That would get annoying real quickly. But every now and then in a scenario where it actually fits. Which I don't know if it fits here. But then again, platforming is a genre where most different like visual aesthetics will, to some extent or another, work, so I'm not complaining about it too much. And as I said before, I do like the aesthetic every now and then where it fits. And I feel like it's used pretty well here, actually. Consistently as well. Oh my... I knew that was gonna happen. I just knew it. Maybe I should concentrate a little bit on finishing this stage. It's interesting because these green bouncy circles are a new mechanic introduced in the second world. I didn't know this was a mechanic in the game. I figured after playing the entirety of the first world, I probably would have seen most of the game. Apparently, I'm not going to even attempt that. Apparently not. Apparently there's still mechanics which I haven't seen yet. And the end of the game is one of the portals. So yeah, there's 20 in this stage, which supports my theory of there being 20 in every stage. No, there's 50 in this stage. There's 20 in this. So it seems like there's 20 in every normal stage and then 50 in the boss stages, which aren't actually bosses, I might add. Let's go to the second stage of the second world. Okay, so that didn't start until I started moving. I don't know why that is. There's a thing I want to make sure I mention, even though I don't know if it's a valid complaint about the game, so bear that in mind when I talk about this. But you could see after I respawned there, I just immediately ran up to the right, while I can assure you I wasn't pressing any buttons. Fair warning, that could definitely be my controller. That could also be either the game doing weird shit, and if it is the game doing weird shit, I think it just remembers, and I would consider that a bug. I think it remembers the last input you gave before you died, and unless you input something else, it's going to use that well, until you press another button. For instance, anybody who's ever had any experience with Game Maker knows that there's two ways, or game development in general, but Game Maker is of course a very easy way into that. There's two ways to check for pressing a key and like having movement stuck to that. One of which is you start moving when you press the button and you stop moving when you release the button, and the other one of which is just checking if the button is pressed down every single like tick refresh of the game. I feel like it could be the case that this game just starts moving you when you when you press the button, and stops moving you when you release it, and if you release it in a death screen, it doesn't register as you're releasing it, so you start moving immediately when you come back to life, when you respawn, which is instant, as you could see. Then again, it could also be my controller. I want to make that abundantly clear. And as you can see, these two levels you don't actually have to do, especially since I've gotten so many of those. I'm pointing to it. You can't see I'm pointing to it, but the golden and the silver collectibles, I don't know what they're called, are used to unlock for one different stages, and you need a certain amount of the silver ones to unlock the last stage of every world, which isn't really a boss fight, but it has a skull to it, so it's supposed to be a boss fight, but it's not really a big enemy, so it's not really a boss fight now, is it? So you can definitely go into stage 3 and stage 4 here if you want to, but you can also move on to stage 5 if you would like. The thing is though, I don't really know why I can't go down here. I imagine it has something to do with the two locks, so I'm going to go into stage 5 to test that theory. This isn't too difficult actually. Those are platforms which disappear. That's very good to know. Okay, so this is a little bit... Wow, that's actually... It doesn't look that difficult to get, but it's actually pretty difficult to get. Okay, so again, new mechanics. So it keeps throwing new mechanics at you, which honestly, a platformer like this needs to do that. Again, I'm going to compare it to Super Meat Boy, because honestly, Super Meat Boy is one of the best hardcore platformers ever to be made. In my opinion, at least. Super Meat Boy also does that, where... Shit... Timing is very important there, as it seems. Super Meat Boy also did that, where it keeps throwing new mechanics at you every world or so. roughly. At least to a certain extent. Okay, so let me... I'm going to take that thing home. I fucking swear I will. Well, I say take it home, but... Luckily it's a cycle, so this should work. Huh. That's interesting. So... Oh, that was literally like 2 frames. Okay, so I'm going to attempt this one more time. Okay, so now I just need a checkpoint, because otherwise I'm going to lose that progress. I like this mechanic. I don't like the fact that I died there, because... Oh shit, now I've got nothing to go to. I think I'm just gonna give up on that golden square cube thingy. Apparently not. I didn't even think about trying it again. I just kind of automatically did it. I guess that's muscle memory. This is actually very, very difficult, and I was so close to the next checkpoint as well. Oh, fuck. Yeah, now I'm just going to put a conscious effort into skipping that thing, because holy fuck, it is annoying to deal with that. That's... You see, this is the second world. I don't know how many worlds there are in this game. It's the second world and I'm having some real difficulty. So yes, this is actually a pretty hardcore platformer. Because I don't want to say I'm like very good at platforming games. But I would like to imagine that, especially when I'm not commentating, I'm decent at them. Especially since I've been playing quite a lot of them recently. I've also been playing quite a lot of Sonic recently, which, honestly, Sonic isn't too easy. Especially the older Sonics are pretty hard. I have been playing more modern ones, which are relatively easy. But the first couple of Sonic games, pretty difficult. That being said, I haven't played Sonic Mania yet, so I don't know what the difficulty curve in that is. I really should, actually. Okay, so I've gotten a checkpoint. I can just jump. I can't jump over that. Luckily, I didn't actually attempt to for some reason. I meant to attempt to jump over him, but... Yeah, you can't. Precision platforming is also... Oh shit, that thing falls down with you. That's not good. That's very, very bad, actually. I didn't foresee that happening. Then again, it does tell you with the... Which one thing above, the enemy above here, on this platform. If you look closely, you see him falling down. So it does give you a heads up and tell you that's going to be the case. And of course, just from a level design perspective, it makes sense because there's a couple of platforms under each other. So it makes sense that if you fall down, and the whole scenario here just sets up the fact that you should not be too surprised by the fact that this guy falls down with you. Then again, I was. But that's more me being an idiot and less the game being unclear about things, because the game put some real effort into showing me that he was going to fall down with me. And I just didn't really see it. Holy shit, this is a difficult stage. Then again, I'm getting better at this. You see how quickly I'm blasting through this? Okay, so I'm going to accumulate more and more of these guys, which is going to make this actually pretty fucking annoying to deal with. Oh, shit. Get in! I made it! That was close, but I made it. So let's see what that lock thing has to do with anything. I still can't get to it. I guess I have to finish stage 3 and 4 then? Or the boss stage? I think. And that's the Great Escape, which... Hang on, that's a reference to Rayman 2, The Great Escape. What is the first boss stage called? Pointy Rocks. Not a reference to anything as far as I'm aware. But yeah, that is Super Lumi Live, available on Steam for €10. I would imagine if you have €10 to spare, this is a good game. Even if you don't have €10 to spare, this is a good game. This is just a good game, and the price is pretty good. I would even pay 15 for this. Of course, it's cheaper than that, so that's good. So the link is down below in the description if you want to buy this game for yourself, which I highly encourage you to do. Until the next time, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you have enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with my newest content in the future. I'll see you all later. Wow, I don't even think that was a word. Bye.